Hello, I'm John McAllister, and today we're going to go into a segment called Me and Jesus. It's something I did a few years ago and gotten away from, and now I want to get back to it. With Me and Jesus, I talk to people who have stories, who have things to say about their Christian lives. My guest today is the new minister, Pastor Jon Morris at Wyandot Global Methodist Ministries. Now, the part of that I really know is that the old John Stewart Methodist Church, because I'm old, but it's a Pastor Jon does a wonderful job. Talks about himself, talks about his goals at the global, talks about different things, and talks about maybe building the program at John Stewart, what it's going to take. And there I said John Stewart. I apologize. Anyway, if you'll sit back and enjoy the video podcast with the new minister at Wyandot Global Methodist Ministries, Jon Morris. Like I said earlier in my introduction, my guest today is Pastor Jon Morris. He's a new face in Upper Sandusky, he and his family, and he is the minister at Wyandot Global Methodist Ministries. Now, Johnny, you have to pardon me because all I know is John Stewart. I'm an old guy and I can't remember things. So John Stewart.
How are you? Is one of the four. So
yeah, how are you?
I'm doing well. And yourself, John?
Good. Is it still a little high, a little bit of a high getting here and starting in?
Well, I hit the ground running and I haven't stopped since. So I think I'll settle in sometime after the holidays to see exactly how things are going. But
right,
I'll keep running then until then.
You seem to have a great attitude. Talking to you a couple of times. Let's talk about the church right now, and then we'll go into other things. Tell me about Wyandot Global Methodist Ministries. You know, like I said, when I went there for years and years, it was just John Stewart, United Methodist, John, and everything's changed so much. Why Global Ministries, John?
Well, Global is the Global Methodist Church. So with the disaffiliation, the churches that I'm currently serving decided to go with the Global Methodist Church. They hold a little bit tighter to the Bible than what the United Methodist Church was doing.
Okay.
So they decided to disaffiliate, and I did myself as well. And so Wyandot Global Methodist Ministries is made up of four churches. Right. We have John Stewart, which you know well. Then we have Marseilles, Wharton, and Wesley Chapel. So those are the four churches that make up Wyandot Global Methodist Ministries.
So how do you spread yourself? So you'll have to spread yourself around and thin. How are you going to manage that?
Well, fortunately, I'm blessed with a associate pastor in Pastor, and so between the two of us, we each do 2 services a week. So we're at 2 churches each week, and we alternate which churches we're at. So everybody's seeing us.
Right.
A lot of it goes to scheduling, making sure meetings aren't scheduled at the same time so we can get back and forth and dividing the workload and conquering that way. And I'm also blessed with some really strong leaders at the churches that help make that transition and that ability go smoothly.
Okay, that's really good. I go back to, and I'm sure it's not going to be quite the same, but when Upper Sandusky, I remember when they consolidated Harpster and Marseilles and Salem and Eden. You know, I'm not so sure there still isn't. And there's Salem Group, Marseilles. I mean, it's never in a consolidation. It's never totally together, and that's just a fact. You know.
Well, the churches, the 4 churches are their individual churches. They maintain
Right.
They are. But we do try to work together to increase our output of what we can do missionally and outreach wise So how we can evangelize, how we can reach the community. We find that as we work together as the four churches, we're able to do more than each individual church could do by themselves.
That's so true. That's so true. And just like I think you and I talked about, let's just figure out the problem and come up with some solutions for you before. So you got some ideas. You're not going into it stone cold, right?
No, not going into it stone cold. I spent a good portion of my seminary time studying church renewal and revival. Those are the things that I'm passionate about. And
That's huge. That's huge. Now, I will tell you, let's talk about you a little bit. First of all, you won me over when you told me you went to school in Middletown, and then you went to Dayton Fairmont, I think. But but Middletown, I'm sure a lot of people in Upper Sandusky don't know, it's a pretty tough place.
It is, but I didn't realize that until I went to Kettering. Growing in Middletown, it was just home.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it as super tough or anything. I had my group of friends. We lived in an okay place most of the time.
Yeah.
You would see needles on the street and stuff, but I didn't think of it as too tough. And then I walked into Kettering Fairmont, and I was a little baffled by just the atmosphere of Kettering compared to the atmosphere of Middletown.
Right. You went two different places, so really you got a great background. Let's talk about your family, and then we'll come back. Your family, married, happily married, and tell me, people need to know about your children's situation because it's really neat. First time I ever saw you guys on a Wednesday night, you come in, and it was really neato. I mean, I'm not being sarcastic at all. Tell me about your family.
Well, my wife and I married just a little over 18 years ago.
Congrats.
My husband passed away of cancer, and so she had 5 kids that were ages 8 down to 3 when we got married. And the Lord has blessed us with 9 children since then. So we have a total of 14 kids. Our oldest is 26, and our youngest is 2. And we have 2 add-on kids or bonus kids, as 2 of our kids are married.
Yeah.
3 grandkids and another one on the way. So it's definitely always an adventure. It's always fun. And the Lord has blessed us greatly with all of our kids.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Tell me real quickly, all your kids, a lot of them play instruments. So you have a praise band?
Correct. Morris Family Praise. We do some songs that I've written, but we have traditional or contemporary songs that are out now. We will be playing at the Christmas Spectacular on the 20th of December here at Jon Stewart. That benefits Open Door.
Really? That's really neat. So it's primarily your family.
Correct.
Good. That's really good. It's really neat. Okay. And when did you join the service? Because I think that's where you made your commitment, didn't you, to Christ, or sometime during that time?
Well, I joined the service out of college. I hadn't graduated yet, but I was supposed to have graduated. I found out last minute I needed an extra course that I didn't have, but I had already signed up to go into the Army, so I went anyway. So I joined the service in 2002. I actually signed up right after 9/11.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. That's amazing.
And I signed up in December of that year. So went in 2002, did 3 years of active duty as an air traffic controller, and then a year in the National Guard afterwards. But what you're talking about with the call, I guess, would be my first Sunday of basic training. I went to chapel up in the church, and that's what I did on Sundays was go to church.
Yeah.
The chapel, and I walk in, and I felt this nudging and this call in my mind, in my ear that said, "You belong over there." and I looked in the direction I was feeling pointed, and it was the chaplain and his assistants. And I would like to say I went and talked to him, but in truth, I avoided chapel the rest of the time at basic training. I said, nope, my brother's in seminary, my mom's a pastor, my dad does stuff in church. I'm good. I'm joining in the Army. I don't need to worry about that. So I didn't go back to chapel the rest of the time I was at basic training. It took me a few years to come around to accept.
Okay. Yeah. This is little known, but I spent 9 years in the Army Reserves and Guard, and the last 3, I was a state chaplain's assistant in Columbus.
Oh, nice.
And I loved it. But the trouble was I was a head football coach and a track coach, and I just couldn't give him the time that he needed. We got along really well. He wanted me to go to Houston for 3 days. He wanted me to do this, and I just couldn't put the time in. So I got out, but it was a great experience. And it's amazing how the connotation of these big, rough Army guys, there's some pretty good Christian guys in that group that need to hear about Christ. And I was more of a listener and small advice because I was pretty young, but it was a great experience.
The funny thing to me is, even though I was running from the Lord at that time, people always brought the Bible to me and asked me questions. Up leading little Bible studies in the common areas of the barracks.
Yeah.
While I was stationed in Korea and other places, even though I wasn't pursuing God at that time. Yeah. It was kind of humorous to me in retrospect, looking back, going, oh, the Lord was using me then too, while I was trying to run the opposite way from him.
That's really super, Pastor Jon. Really good. Okay, how did you get to Upper Sandusky then? From, I think, Washington? No, I'm sorry, Wisconsin?
Wisconsin. Well, I grew up in Ohio.
Yeah.
And a little over just a year ago, we moved to Wisconsin to pastor a church up there. Good people, but we missed Ohio.
Oh.
We have family here, and we missed family. So we missed our adult kids and their families. When we were going up there, we didn't know a couple of the grandkids were going to be coming. Oh. And so we found out right after we accepted the position, but I'm always one that follows through with an obligation.
Yeah.
So we went anyway, and then decided that it would be best to move back. And we got in touch with Upper Sandusky as I was looking at the Global Methodist churches in Ohio. I reached out to one of my friends that's a presiding elder, and he said, well, I have this opportunity. It's 4 churches, though. What do you think about that? And I said, I'm all for it. I've been over multiple churches numerous times. Most of my ministry's been over 2 churches. So I thought, it's 2 hours away from my daughter and son-in-law and those grandkids, 2 hours from my mom, an hour and 45 minutes from my son and daughter-in-law, and that in 2 hours and a half from my dad. So I figured it was a perfect spot.
A little closer than Wisconsin, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
I'm just being silly. Okay. Tell me what, anytime you interview for a job, and when I used to interview for football or coaching jobs and teaching jobs, they always want to know, what new ideas do you have? Well, how are you going to give me a couple of new ideas for Jon Stewart?
I wouldn't say they're new ideas.
Okay.
And I say that because there's not really anything new under the sun as far as goes, especially. But it's kind of an old idea. Okay. Care for the community, be seen, be present, let people know you're there, share the good news over and over and over again. One of the big focuses that I have in our new lead for the board here at Jon Stewart is increasing our evangelism and our face in the community.
Right.
and that's bringing everybody in the church up. So if you want to bring new people into the church, in my opinion, you don't focus on that. You focus on strengthening yourselves spiritually in the church, and you focus on your outreach and being seen. God will bring the people in that need to come in, but you got to be prepared for them when they get there. So that's what we're working on, being prepared for them as they come
That's
in.
a great idea, a great thought. Okay. What else?
Into the
Go ahead.
moving into the 21st century a little bit.
Right.
So
Right.
we just started streaming the services from Jon Stewart. We're doing some videos on Facebook for Advent season, and we're starting to record more things and post more things and communicate more in the digital world. I've seen that have tremendous turnarounds in churches I've served before, and reach, especially during COVID, that reached a lot of people that way. And some people have stayed on the couch since COVID, and you got to find a way to get in there, talk to them, and communicate with them.
Right.
And so you, as much as some people don't like it, the digital age is necessary for outreach.
John, it's here, and putting those up on the screen. I'm sure there are people that still like the hymnal and all these things, and it's great. But times are changing. The digital scene. Look what we're doing right now. I mean, this is eventually going to go all over the place, and it's just what it is. And I think that I think more that you can have people experience videos and YouTube and Facebook and things like that. It's good. It's not an animal. I mean,
well, and one of the things that I like about it in particular is that it gives us an opportunity to reach out to our homebound in a way and engage them in a manner that they can't do. Right. If they can physically get into the church, somebody can bring a device over if they don't have one. They can watch a service. They can connect with people that way. And so it's a good tool to utilize, and it's just one tool in the bag of tools that we have.
Right.
And we just got to use all the tools that we have to the best of our ability to try to reach as many people as we can.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Okay, let's talk. This is kind of a tough one because I actually taught Sunday school for 5 high school kids back in the day. And we didn't have we used the magazine, and we had great discussions every Sunday. But how can you get the Sunday school going again at John's? Well, I don't know what the other churches have. Do they have Sunday schools?
Well, Jon Stewart currently has 2 Sunday schools that meet, a women's Sunday school and a men's.
Okay.
And then there is a Sunday school that meets at Marseilles as well.
Okay.
And so those places have Sunday schools that meet, and we're in the process of redoing the children's and youth programs.
Good. That's really good, John.
Across all the churches.
Uh-huh.
So come January, we're having a bowling party at the bowling alley here in Upper Sandusky. And we're going to be kicking off our charge-wide youth group then. So all 4 churches are coming together to create a youth group. And that's going to be kicking off in January at the bowling party. And so I believe right now we have 7 to 10 youth between the 4 churches.
Okay.
That are of that age, between junior high to high school.
Right.
And we're also kicking off a children's school program, a children's church program that would go across the 4 churches as well, wherever it's needed. And that would be after they come down for like a children's message, they would go to a classroom and have study that's more geared towards their level. Crafts.
I know you know this, but that's really a great idea. I mean, I just think it's so important. John, anytime you, as a football coach or a teacher or anything, when your class leaves, you always want to leave them with something that they can remember. Remember about you, remember about the game, remember about anything. What can you tell me now as we're getting ready to close here, what are your final thoughts? What do you want to say that people need to know about you?
To be honest, I don't care if people know that much about me. As long as my goal is to always be one that points to Christ.
Okay.
So if they're interacting with me, I want them to see some sort of revelation of Christ in me, to see the light of Christ shine through. And that's my goal, is just to point people to Christ. Whether it's at one of the 4 churches with Wyandot Global Methodist Ministries or outside of that, I just want people to come to know Christ. He's the answer that we need. The world is in a kind of a dark place. It's a battleground out there spiritually, and people need Jesus. And so my goal and my hope is that I can help point people to him, that he can change their hearts, he can change their lives. And if I have to look silly to do it, or whatever the Lord needs of me to do, that's what I'm going to do. So that's my goal and mission. It doesn't matter so much at the end of the day if people remember who Pastor Jon is, but if they get to know Christ, then I'm 100% happy with that. So that's where I'm at.
That's where you're at. That's a great closing to a very good interview. I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time. And, I'm not too far away, so I may be bugging you here sometimes just to visit, because it's always important. You've said a lot of great things today. I appreciate your help. Thank you.
Thank you, Jon. You have a blessed day.
Thank you.